Hello and welcome to the January 23rd edition of This Week in South Carolina in Session. I'm Gavin Jackson at the State House here in Columbia, where it's a balmy 67 degrees, a far cry from where we were last week when winter weather ensnared part of the state and stopped legislative proceedings happening for 2 days up here. Now that we're back in session, House members have already taken key initial approvals and steps to move forward on several bills dealing with utility reforms in light of the VC Summer nuclear power plant project that failed last year. One of those big bills that we saw already kind of going through the House today dealt with the Office of Regulatory Staff and strengthening that office, which is a utility watchdog essentially. Other news that we heard today was from Governor McMaster, who actually also came out and said that he wants to see the repeal of the controversial Baseload Review Act, both prospectively and retroactively. This is a big step, a big change from the governor, especially since we heard a report last week from ORS talking about SCE&G and their ability to survive such a repeal. Now, we got comments from him coming. We also have comments from him about the tariffs that the Trump administration wants to impose on washing machines. He says this will adversely affect the newly opened Samsung plant that manufactures appliances in Newberry County. We got a lot to talk about, so let's jump right in. Despite McMaster's pleas to President Donald Trump, a close ally of his, he expressed disappointment in the recently imposed tariffs by the administration of 50% on imported washing machines, a move that he says will adversely affect the recently opened $380 million Samsung appliance plant.
I am disappointed, as are they, in the recommendations that were made by the International Trade Commission and the commissioner. I think they made the wrong decision. I think that Samsung, because it is building a factory here, a major factory, major investment. I've been to it, I've seen it, it's huge. Eventually, or in not long, it'll provide 1,000 jobs in that area. Jobs for people in 90% of them are over that now already, right from the Newberry area. So I think that I tried the best I could to present the facts. So did others. So did Congressman Norman and others, and we testified a number of times. I think they just I think they made an error. I'm disappointed, but we'll work with it, and we'll do what we can to make sure that Samsung the investment is strong and productive for the people of our state. They are analyzing the entire situation. They are as disappointed as we are. Well, there are a lot of people, there are a lot of companies that are interested. I think we've got a long way to go with Dominion as well as others. There are a lot of, this is economics, this is the free market, this is competition, this is negotiation. And a part of the negotiation that will be made better is if the customers are not obligated by law to keep paying money on into the future to pay for something that they're not going to get.
Over in the House, Representative Peter McCoy, who co-chairs the House Utility Ratepayer Protection Committee, welcomed the governor's comments today and said he's also looking forward to debate in the House dealing with several bills that will strengthen utility regulation in the state.
When I read the governor's letter that basically said to me in no uncertain words that he will not or would not sign a bill we send to him unless there is a repeal of the Baseload Review Act, that's a strong message, and it's a powerful message, and I applaud the governor for his leadership on this issue. He's telling the ratepayers right now that unless the legislature repeals the Baseload Review Act and no longer gives the utilities the opportunity to ever gain financial money and impact on the backs of ratepayers is as strong a statement as it gets, and I applaud the governor for doing so. Again, it's up in the air when it comes to the Dominion deal. When you look at the Dominion deal again, though, I have some major issues with what's going on there. They want to continue to use the Baseload Review Act to collect money for a failed nuclear project. And I think the governor sees that, and he has an issue with it as well. And I hope Dominion can reconsider and come back to us and let us have the opportunity to discuss basically the ins and outs of that deal, because I can't and we'll never be comfortable with the fact that ratepayers will still be paying money for a failed nuclear project based on the Baseload Review Act, and that's what the Dominion deal is part of right now as well.
The House is the first chamber to advance any bill following the VC Summer nuclear power plant boondoggle that came to light last summer.
We are going to have as an agency who is no longer charged with looking after the financial stability of an industry, and we're going to have a consumer advocate in addition advocating for the consumer. What we are going to have is a beefed up agency, an agency that truly failed in its mission on this, in my opinion, perhaps because they were misled. But let's ask the other question, y'all. How many other rate cases do they hear? How many other places has ORS been involved where they didn't screw up? I get it. This was a big one, but we need to look at it in its totality, not just this specific instance. I ask that we table.
Speaker Jay Lucas also swore in the House's two newest members that won special elections last Tuesday. Republican Representative Nancy Mace of Charleston defeated Democrat Nancy Boatwright for former Representative Jim Merrill's seat, following his guilty plea to a misconduct in office charge. In Greenville, Republican Ashley Trantham replaced outgoing Representative Eric Bedingfield, who will now be Greenville Technical College's Director of Governmental Affairs. And then over in the Senate, lawmakers were talking about S-107. That's a Senate bill dealing with the governor and lieutenant governor running on a joint ticket, which it takes effect this year in 2018. Now, they didn't really come to any resolution, but there was a lot of heated rhetoric, definitely directed toward the House, which they say has been kind of obstructing the current bill, which is in a conference committee, which is made up of 3 House and 3 Senate members that has yet to meet.
This conference committee has tried to meet, I've been told, but a sticking point is provision in this legislation dealing with judges' pay. Members of the Senate, this question that was put to the voters didn't have one thing to do with judges' pay. I don't think this bill S-107 should have anything to do with judges' pay. But I'm told that we're at a deadlock. I can't understand why it's taking so long. Here it is, 2018. We have the governor running for re-election. We have the man presiding over the Senate. Our lieutenant governor is offering for governor. And strangest of all, another House member that's on the conference committee is running for governor. And we still can't get a conference report from this conference committee.
On Wednesday, House lawmakers will continue to debate utility reform bills. Also, Governor McMaster will give his first State of the State address at 7 p.m., which will be carried live on SCE&TV and South Carolina Public Radio. But our coverage of the State House does not stop there. Stick with SCE&TV every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday for daily video recaps of the legislative session. I'm Gavin Jackson at the State House in Columbia.